Recorded is on. Good day and shalom, y'all. This is a very exciting day for us because this is the day when the sun had entered into the first sign of Mazzaroth, giving us the sign that the next day will be the first day of spring. So what you see before you is a picture showing you the a picture of what? Showing you a picture of the new year coming in. Now, some of you are aware that our new year has not started yet because we're in the 13th month. And the heavens have declared, as well as the earth and the prophets. For the Most High has given his prophets the formulas to determine when the 13th month will come in to keep the moon in regulation with the seasons. So again, we're very thankful and we are happy that you're here with us today to study about our Father's calendar. And when you study his calendar, you will learn that it will lead you to have understanding of his mysteries as well as those biblical prophecies. Also, the calendar will teach you about agriculture because it goes back to the foundation. And the foundation I'm talking about, what did he make Adam to do? He made Adam to sow the earth. That was our trade in the beginning. The same trade that he would bring us back when he restored everything back in its proper place. We would be husbandries, where we would practice husbandry. And we'll go back into sowing the earth. Take this time to reflect on this picture for this year, for the heathen's year of 2021. So for the agenda for today, not that one, this one. The agenda for today is you have to forgive me. Sometimes these devices don't work as smooth. Is the following. Today we're going to share with you some of our East Point photos to give you an idea of how do you find the East Point. Now today, if you was not able to find it, unfortunately you're going to have to wait until the fall equinox come, and then you can see where your East Point is. It's one of those things where you have to be at the right place and right time to catch it. For it only comes twice a year. In some of the past videos, we've been sharing with you that the earth has shifted now. So the old way of how them to determine when it's the equinox day can no longer be used. For some of you was maybe using that you have to go by daylight being equal to night. In other words, you have 12-hour daylight and 12-hour night. But because the earth has shifted now, you no longer can use that as the confirmation that that is your equinox day. Even the Most High had prophesied about this in YAHUAH prophetic messages. Please go to the video description box and click on that link and print out that message. For he told you through his prophet that the heavens and earth are groaning for the Israelites to be restored in their proper place. Therefore, one of the signs that the earth does, she is no longer in line with the heavens. Those who know of the ancient ways, who have been set in the heavens, as according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, understand that the heavens was made to be our calendar, our clock, as well as our navigator when we need to, as we go about traveling within the earth. So those who have that ancient knowledge will testify unto you that the earth has shifted. For where they used to see where the sun would rise on the east point, it's no longer doing that. It has moved. There's a video listed in the calendar. Click on the calendar link, look in the 13th month, go to the bottom of it, and you will see titled The Earth Shifted. Now that the earth has shifted, we have seen a lot of great changes in the weather. Many would say that the changes in the weather was caused by, they're called global warming, but that's not true. When the earth has shifted, it has caused a lot of changes in the weather, as well as other things within the earth. Again, Israelites, the earth, she is manifesting herself unto you, letting you know you're not in your proper place, for you have not been restored as a nation of people. Again, that is a sign. Pay close attention. So in number 2, today we're going to go back and look at 2nd Enoch, because I left a chapter out showing you why we have 365 days or 366 days in the sun year. Even the heavens will witness this unto you. Go out there and count the days, and you will see you will get 365 or 366 when you go from the spring equinox to the spring equinox. Also on the channel, we have looked at other people calendar records, such as those who keep the 364, but they too don't realize they have made a great error. And one of their greatest errors is that they don't follow the 3 lights, which are the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. And because they do not follow what the Father instructed us, they too will experience the same thing for those who only follow the moon. They will find their first month in the year will start early and early each year until they end up keeping Passover in winter. We have the proof, we have the records, and math don't lie. This is why I'm sharing unto you, my brothers and sisters. It's very important that you start keeping a calendar record and check behind people. Many of them not teaching you the whole truth, or they may not understand it, or it may be an overlooked error. But if you start putting this stuff down on paper and start comparing what's done in the heaven and the earth, then you begin to see what the prophet wrote, such as Enoch, as well as the Bible, is saying unto you. For everything going hand in hand. What you put on paper have to match what is done in the heaven and the earth. For the heaven and the earth are his witness. The next thing we're going to do today, we're going to do some calculation of the lunar epact. And by doing the calculation of the lunar epact, it will give you the New Year date. And I've been keeping a record of this for about, I would say it is 1999 to 1999 or 2000, all the way up to now. And I'm telling y'all, this formula, y'all, is on point. It matched right on the dot. And the reason why this formula works so well, because this comes from heavens above. This is the same formula that is used by the Gentiles. Yes. And we have proof of that. Those who have a copy of the King James 1611, all you have to do, open your Bible up and go to the almanac and see where they get this information from. When you read it, you'll be like, this sounds very familiar. Where did this information came from? It came from the prophet Enoch. But he was the prophet giving all the information about creation and about the Most High Calendar. Also, not only looking at the almanac, look at their calendar months. Again, these things was put in by the heathens. And see where they got this idea of format from. They stole these things from the Most High. But yet, when you look at their when you look at those things that's in the King James 11 book, you will find that it's not correct, but they're not given the full understanding of these sacred things that come from heaven. These things are given unto the Israelites, but the Israelites are to teach the sons of Adam the correct way. So the evidence is in that 1611 Bible. So this is why I share it to y'all. Do not put that book away. It is your proof and your evidence against the heathens and what they have done. The next one is, to understand the Most High Calendar, these are the following requirements you must have. You got to read Torah, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, along with the books of the Gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When you have read those books and mastered it, you will understand the prophet's writings as well as the scribe's writings. And with all those writings added together, it will give you a greater understanding of the Most High Calendar and why his calendar is consistent of 3 lights, which is the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. And Mazzaroth is the Hebrew word for the 12 signs. Next, in order to understand his calendar. You have to observe the heavens. I cannot stress this as much. How can you know what you believe is correct if you don't see it witnessed in the heavens? Okay. The next thing on the list is, let me see what I have here. To continue to read the first and second, third book of Enoch. There's an auto playlist provided for those who's in this class, because Enoch's writings relate to what we're going to now. Not only with this calendar, but what is happening now. It's a lot of things in these books that Enoch has written that will amaze you and will give you greater understanding what is happening now and why it's happening. Okay? And it will really explain unto you that we're truly not dealing with flesh and blood. We're not dealing with the sons of Adam. We're dealing with these angels, those who have joined themselves to Satan. That's who we're fighting against. All right? Also, along in addition to Enoch, you need to read the book of Jubilees to get a greater understanding about his calendar as well. All right? As for your calendars, for the 13th month, your calendar should be completed. If it has not, then see the 13th new moon report that's on the channel. Each month that comes by, you are expected to fill out your calendar. So you will learn how to do this yourself. Therefore, if anything should happen to me, you would be okay because you know how to do this calendar. That is the whole purpose of us coming together to learn about the Father's calendar. To not make you independent, no, to not make you dependent, but to make you independent so you can teach another. Okay? Now we'll open up with prayer, and then I'll give you the date. Silence your phones. Sisters, cover your heads. Brothers, I ask you, uncover your heads. But that's the sign that the Father commands us to do. But when you understand that the spiritual go in hand with the carnal, do you understand why our Father asks us to do these things? Those who are not able to participate in this sign, you are covered, for we are aware there are those who are in prison or in jail or on their sick bed and have no control of that situation. So you are covered. But the day will come in the new heaven and new earth, we will keep these things as our Father commanded us. What was set in the beginning will come to be in the future. All right, let us face the east. Abba Yah, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thou kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our debt as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, thine is the power, thine is the glory, forever. So be it. Okay, now for the date. I'm still working on a title for this video, so it may change when it get publicized. So for right now, I have the title is The Lunar Epact Predicts / Projects the New Moon Date, and why is there 365 or 366 days in the same year? Now let us open up with the date. As you know, I always give you the Most High date in comparison to the heathen date, so you can get an understanding that what Daniel prophesies unto us is real, and we're in it now. We are in the fourth beast kingdom, Rome, which is ruled by our brother Esau. And as prophesied by the prophets, when Jacob grabbed his brother heel, it represents that Esau's kingdom will come to an end, and Jacob's kingdom will begin, and this kingdom will be eternal. But it's a greater mystery within that. For that prophecy was talking about a descendant of Jacob, one who was born of his lineage, that would take down the fourth beast. Because we know our brother Esau and the other nations that have joined themselves to him have made a covenant with Satan. This is why the dragon is red in Revelation chapter 12. And only the Holy One that comes from heaven above, that is a descendant of Jacob, Adam, David. That's what I was thinking about. A descendant of Adam, Jacob, and King David will be the one to put an end to Esau's kingdom. For he has joined himself with that dragon, with that old serpent. And only a son of God can put an end to his kingdom, because we're dealing with powers of darkness. So when you study his calendar, you will see we are in that kingdom. It will reveal the truth, what was hidden in the darkness. So the Most High date, we are in the 13th month known as Adar the second. And Adar means exceeding glorious. On the channel, the mystery is revealed about what is exceeding glorious mean. It is prophesizing unto you, O bride of the Messiah, the 144,000, what will happen unto you, what is to come. Again, as we go through these months, we need to meditate and hear our Father, what is the message? What is the mystery? So we're in the 13th month, and this is the 7th day. Far as the year, we're in the 8th day from Adam, which is the 13th day of creation. Far as prophecy, we're in the 8th week of Enoch's 10-week prophecy. Far as the date of the sun, we're in the sun's 12th month and 30th day. And today is the Equinox day. Well, they call it the spring equinox day. Let me put that in there, the spring equinox day. Okay, so this is the sign that the Father gave unto us. For when things were perfect, we would have 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. However, because Israel is not in their proper place, things are out of order. So the only way to identify the east point now, you have to look for the sun rising up in the east to see where your east point is. Then our Father day starts from sundown to sundown because he is the Father of light. Therefore, his children imitate him. So we are the children of light. So he begins his day from daylight to daylight. Far as the phase of this day, we're in the daylight phase of this day. Now for the heathen's day. Their month, they call it March, and the day is the 20th. The year is 2021 AD. And the heathens call this day Saturday, which means Saturnine day. For the heathens worship the hosts of heaven and its creations. And the heathens' days start from midnight to midnight because they are the children of darkness, and they imitate what Satan do, for he is the father of darkness. Just by studying the heathens' count alone, we reveal unto you what kingdom you are in. Just as is written on the World Church of Council, their logo, which is a Greek word, okaneme. When you look up okaneme, which is in the Bible, okay, it means the Roman Empire. Like I said, everything before your eyes. But the spirit of Yah has to wake you up so you can see it. All right, let's get straight into it. We need to go back to 2nd Enoch because I did leave off a chapter. So as that's pulling up, I do need to pull up my Enoch book, but I do that once this pull up first. In the last video, I had left off a chapter in the second book of Enoch that will give you greater understanding why the sun has 365 or 366 days in this year. As you know, our Father, he speaks to numbers, and numbers mean something. It's just going to take a while to get there. Then we did talk about chapter 48. We talked about that one. Take this time now to pause your screen to look at the chart. And keep in mind, these names that we have here, I know it's like some of the names are the same as the moon, but keep in mind, this is dealing with the sun. Dealing with the sun month. Okay. The chapter I left off was chapter 68. Chapter 68. And looking at verses 1 through 4, actually 1 through 9, you would get an understanding that there was a change in the sun year, because we was all taught from first Enoch, the sun's year was 364. But when you go out and you observe the heavens, and once you understand what is your equinox day, as well as your summer solstice and your winter solstice, okay, when you look at all those points in the heaven, you would count 365, and in the fourth year, you'll get 366. You got to ask yourself why. And this has a lot to do with what took place with Enoch when the Father brought him to heaven to write these sacred books for us. And these are the same sacred books that did survive the flood. For it was given to a righteous lineage. It was passed down to Noah after the flood. Then Noah passed it down to Seth, and it was continued passed down through a righteous lineage. And proof that all Enoch's writings have survived, I know they have found remains of it in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And another witness is, look at the Jews of Ethiopia, because everybody in the world recognized them being the true people, the blood descendants of Israel. And they too have a copy of Enoch's writings. So the Father is bringing this out. So through his writings, when you look at the second and the third book, you will learn that the 365 is related to the time when the Father took him to heaven. And the 366 is related to the time when he wrote those sacred books. And notice that what took place in the heavens, that when he wrote these sacred books, y'all, he was given a reed where he can write them fast. Again, sometimes we put things in a box, but we forget that our God in heaven is all powerful, all seeing, and all knowing. So we need to stop putting him in a box. Do you hear me, Israelites and Gentiles? All things can be done. The impossible can be done. So if the impossible can be done, Enoch's writings can survive as well. Okay. Let's see, which part do we need to read here? So probably for silent reading, just for the day, if you have not, I would suggest you read 2 Enoch chapter 68. Look at verse 1 through 9 start on page 284. Go to the video description box and you can have access to a PDF copy of Enoch's writings of the first and second and third book. Okay, but we will probably be coming back to this at another time. Trying to see if anything else. Okay, so we'll come back to this another time. All right, now for the main core. Let me see where I'm at. Trying to think where I see. Now I remember. I need to show you my pictures. To those who are on with me this morning, do y'all had good luck finding your east point?
This is I mean, I seen light coming from that area. There's a lot of trees and houses in my way, but I was able to capture some light coming from that area.
Okay. Did y'all see, because I'm telling you, it's the most beautiful thing to see how the night leave out and how daylight come in before the rising of the sun. And there is some time that do pass between night leaving out to the rising of the sun. Did y'all see that time difference I was telling y'all about?
Yes, it was
Yes,
beautiful.
sis.
Yeah, I seen it. I took some
Okay.
pictures of it.
Well, that's very important because when you get to the gospel, and one thing I learned about the gospel, when you look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you look at the day when our Messiah was crucified, which was Aviv 14, we have to take all those 4 chapters and put all those scriptures together because some go in depth than the other on certain events. And where I'm getting to is that Mary didn't get to his tomb till at the rising of the sun. And remember when the angels told her that he's not there because he already risen? And what most people forget, when our Messiah arose on Aviv 16th, because that's the day when we offer the sheaf weight offering of the first fruits of the barley harvest, the Omer. It is also the day when the manna ceased in the days of Joshua when he led them into the land of Canaan. Okay. So that is the same day when our Messiah resurrected. And he resurrected in the daylight phase of Aviv 16th, but it was right before the rising of the sun. That's why it's so important for us to go out and observe the heavens. Watch how night leaves out and day come in. And watch how the day take place, the daylight. Then watch how daylight leaves and night come in. This is why it's so important for us to study the phases of the day. Even with the positioning of the sun in the heavens, as well as the positioning of the moon in the heavens, because I know with the sun, you can use the sun throughout the day to tell you what time it is. Now remember, our people didn't go by seconds or minutes, they went by hours. They would say, this is in the 6th hour or the 7th hour, or etc. Now with the moon, when she becomes full, or if you're very good with the phases of the moon and you know about the time when she would come out, you can also use the moon to be a clock, especially when she's a full moon. Because when she's a full moon, she starts at the beginning of evening because she comes from the east, and she's in the sky all night long, and then she go down in the west. And that's how you can determine when midnight is. Okay, so just by studying all these things, you will learn how to use his heavens, not only for a calendar, not only know when to plant and when to harvest, but you will use his calendar as for your clock. You can also use his heavens to navigate you within the earth because, we are now familiar where is our east point, the south point, the west point, and the north point. So by just having that basic knowledge which comes from heaven above, we can see how amazing Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 is. And it's right. These lights, the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth, would be what? Signs for us, for many things. They will also tell us when the days begin to end. They would tell us when the seasons begin to end. And they're also using a lot of prophecies. Mm-hmm. And they're also, again, for time. But when you read Enoch's writings, he's going to give you a greater understanding about time, how the Most High see time. Right now, he has divided time up for man so we can understand it. But soon, we're going to come into a time or a new age where time is no longer going to exist in the way that we understand it. It's going back to what he made in the beginning. Okay, so in this picture here, this is what I want to show y'all. When I got up early, I think I woke up around 6:33. Unfortunately, I was planning to get up at 6, but my alarm didn't go off. But you know what? The Father woke me up because he knew this had to be done. And when I looked out, it was dark, but it was not as midnight dark. They would call it the astronomical twilight phase. That's what man would label as it. Okay, so as I'm looking at the heavens, one of the things that I was dealing with, do y'all see all these clouds? There was a massive cover of clouds in the heavens today. And when I saw that, I just start to rebuke him. And I call on the power of the holy people, as Daniel written. Now, who's the power of the holy people, y'all? Shalom. Who's the power of the holy people? That Daniel written in Daniel chapter 12. Who's the power of the holy people?
His son.
Who?
We are.
Who? Speak up. I can't hear y'all.
His son.
We are.
His son. Whose son?
Yahusha.
Yahusha. That's who's the power of the holy people. And that's why he's gathered us throughout the four corners of the earth to be a light unto the Gentiles, to bring them in. Like I said, Daniel was given some heavy prophecy, which go in hand with what prophesied by Ezekiel chapter 11. So as you see here around 6:58 this morning, that's when I took this photo, y'all. I was dealing with a whole bunch of clouds. Same thing around 7:37, clouds. I mean, thick clouds like a blanket. But I began to call on the name. And I start rebuking the clouds. And I said, you will reveal what is hidden. So as you see around 7:41, the clouds begin to open. I'm telling y'all, it's not by my hand, but it's by the Most High hand. To the point where I could see where the sun was at. So I have my landmarker. I know that the east is somewhere in this, between these two trees here. Because right here, it's kind of bright because of the sunlight when the clouds open. That was at 7:41. And this was at 7:40. Do y'all see that light? So the clouds, so the Father was breaking the clouds open where I could see the sun. Let me keep going. So as they were breaking the clouds open, I could finally see the sun in its whole disk. Trying to see where that photo I had, where you could really see the portion of the sun. Was it this one? Was it that one? Let me see here. It's in one of these photos because I took a whole bunch of pictures. Okay. It went away. Okay. Well, what I have to do next time we come together, I'm going to have to bring that photo because I had a really good photo of the sun. You can see the sun in this area. And in other words, you can see the shape of the sun within this tree as it was rising in the heavens. Oh, here it go. Here it go. This is it. This is what I'm talking about right here. Do y'all see it? The sun was really right in here.
Yes.
And one thing about the sun, as it was rising, and as the clouds was opening up, it was getting so bright. This is why, when I take pictures, it's so bright you can't really see it. But unfortunately, what I saw, I couldn't get on my cell phone. He did allow me to see the shape of the sun, and he was letting me know, for me, my east point is in this area, right in here. So what I'm planning to do when we get to the summer solstice, I'm going to go back outside, and I want to take pictures and see where the sun rises on the summer solstice day. And then I'm going to also do the same with the fall equinox and the winter equinox, and go ahead and get my 4 points. So that way I can see when the sun begins and starts its months, as well as when it starts and begin the seasons. Very important to know. So it's good to have landmarkers where you can see what the sun is doing. Also, you can determine if the earth is still shifting. So just by knowing this information and how we find out about the earth shifting through the prophets, the prophet told us first, but then it was confirmed with those who have been observing the heavens. Okay. Now for some math. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
I'm trying to think, should we do the math or should I talk about the King James 1611? Before we do the math, let's go to the King James 1611. Okay. And I'm going to share this link in the video description box because there is some sites that have this whole Bible publicized where you can have access to it, especially to what pages we had the heathens add. And one of the things they had is the almanac for 39 years. And what I found so interesting with this almanac, when you read about the golden number, the Epact, the use of the Epact, and when you look at this don't have a title. When you read this information, you be like, where they get this information from? And for those who have read Enoch's writings, you will learn that what you read in this almanac sound a lot like his writings. And now you can begin to understand how they have their pagan day. I'm going to blow this up now. Such as Easter. Remember, this is Old English, so that F that F stands for S, the Easter day. You need to ask yourself, how are the heathens able to keep their pagan day close to our day? Because they too realize that it has to be in spring, even though they don't have the correct date. Then we know the correct date of his crucifixion, which is the Passover day, is Aviv 14th. And we know Aviv 16th is the day when he resurrected. So if you go to the Gregorian calendar today, it's not going to be lined up what the heavens and what the earth is showing you. Again, I'm stressing to all. Do you hear me, Christians? You don't have the correct date. But when I'm pointing out to you how y'all was able to get close to our days is that they was using the prophet Enoch's formulas. Okay? That's what they were doing. And you will hear this number, just talk about this golden number 19. You were like, where did they get 19 from? Something to think about. Like I said, you got to read Enoch's writings. Same thing with the Epact. How did they learn to do the Epact to figure out the new year of the moon? Okay? Because they have to do this formula to figure out when to hold that paganistic heathen holiday, which is Easter, which has nothing to do with the Most High and his son. Something to read. Okay? Like I said, that 1611 is a great Bible. You don't never put it away. Then it lists all the Roman Catholic pagan holidays. Holidays right in here. Okay? I'm going to take you to another page because they have another chart in here that breaks down these pagan holidays. Okay? Pagan holidays. Now, FYI, Dominico means Sunday. Remember what Constantine did? He changed their day, their first day of the week, to be Sunday. Sunday. But the page I want to take you to, like I said, this is all in the 1611. Okay. Not that one, but like I said, you can read that page too. This is how the heathens use to find their Easter day. Okay. Something to read, to look at. Okay. Now this page here is close to what I'm looking for. Like I said, you want to look at the table and the calendar, expressing the order of songs and lessons. Okay. Just something to interesting look over to see what the heathens do. Okay. With all their paganistic days. See how they had their little pagan listed days listed here? Christmas, Easter Day, White Sunday, and Ascension on Friday. Now, this is the part I'm talking about. This comes from the Roman Catholic Church. So I'm looking at my notes, y'all. Bear with me. So starting with this word here, Septuagesima. Forgive me for my pronunciation, but this Roman number here that goes across from it is dealing with 9 weeks. Okay. And that's the 9th day. That's the 9th Sunday before Easter. That's what that means. And then I also have beside it 3rd Sunday before Ash Wednesdays. Do you see how the heathens do? So this name of this day or this week's is to tell them how to keep Easter or when this come up. And it say that this is the 9th Sunday before Easter. And it's the 3rd Sunday before that Ash Wednesday. Then the next one is, it starts with an S-E-X. I'm not going to try to say this word. I'm going to spell it A-G-E-F-I-M-A. I'm looking at my notes, trying to see what Sunday that represent. That represent the 8th Sunday. Then Quin, I'm going to just spell the rest of this. It's Quin-Quagefima. And it means the 7th Sunday. And then the last one that you see here, Quadrigesima. I hope I pronounced that correct, but that means the 6th Sunday before Easter. As far as weeks, yeah, the 6th. So right here, this is the 6 weeks before Easter. This is 7 weeks before Easter. Right here is 8 weeks before Easter. And this right here is 9 weeks before Easter. Then they have listed rogations after Easter. See, rogation will come after Easter in the 5th week, 5 weeks after Easter. Then they have White Sunday will come after Easter in 7 weeks. And then they got Trinity Sunday. Like I said, decent heathen folks. Will come 8 weeks after their pagan day. All this coming from the Roman Catholic Church. I just love this Bible because this Bible testifies so much against them. This is what they added to the living word of the Most High. It's a mess. Another interesting thing I want to show y'all is dealing with the months. Y'all be surprised how they kept their months. Okay. Some of it is close to what we have, but it's still a lot of paganism to it. So we're going to go to, let me see here. All this is under calendar. Okay, so that's where you'll find it. So let me skip some pages. Let me see, can I skip? Let me go to the beginning of it. Oh, while we there, this is the title page. Do you see the father name in Barley Hebrew? Like I said, this Bible has a lot of codes, hidden things. Now let me go to the calendar part. Now notice here, in their heathen month they call January, they say it has 31 days. That's dealing with the sun. But the moon has 30 days. Why are they going by the moon, y'all? Why are they looking at the moon? Also, what I find interesting, they know the day when the sun entered into one of the signs of Mazzaroth. For example, in this month, they have the sun enter into Aquarius. No, say that word for me, y'all. I think that's Aquarius. Y'all see that? And then they have listed some of their pagan holidays. I remember talking about Epiphany. That's on day 6. Okay. Let's go to the next month. In the heathen month named February, notice that they have, let me see, 28 days. Okay. But for the moon, they have 29 days. Notice how they keep up when the sun gonna rise and when the sun gonna go down. And notice here they keep up when the sun into make sure I look at this word right. I think that could be Pisces. Pisces. So another month. Let's look at March. Notice here they have March to have 31 days, but for the moon they has 30 days. Look at how they have for the rising and this for the rising and for the going down of the sun. And notice here they have the sun into Aries, and they have it on for that time of the year. I don't want to misread. Yeah, okay. They do have it on day 13. Day 13 in that time. Okay. There's some interesting things to look at. Again, you ask yourself, where did they get this knowledge from? You know, how did one know to look at the sun and to look at the moon and to look at the rising and the going down of the sun, as well as the sun into the signs of Mazzaroth? Where did they get this information from? Enoch. But they won't give them the full understanding. Okay, there's something to look at. Now for the calculation. Everybody ready?
Yes, sis.
Yes, sis.
Okay, let me go to my page. I better copy this link so I can close it out. Just trying to get to y'all. And there will be a part 2, because we're going to look at not only my records, we're going to look at the Jewish records. We talked a little bit about Brother Howshua records, but as you see what I did, I ended up filling the rest of this chart out. But I want to make sure I show y'all the proof of evidence, how I got these numbers. But as you see, math don't lie. So there is a pattern to the 13th month, and it does follow Enoch prophecy formula, which is the 358 formula. Okay, almost there. It's taking a while to get to it. Now, what I had talked to y'all, I don't know when I talked about it. Do y'all remember me mentioning about an end of year summary report?
I remember. Yeah, because I remember seeing.
Okay, let me pull up this document. And I'm trying to think, I want to close this out. And your year-end summary report really going to help you, especially as the years go by, so you won't have so many papers to go through. But what the year-end summary report does, it tells you how many days was in the sun year, tells you how many days were in the moon year. It is a more condensed report sheet, but it has all that information on, hopefully on one page when you print it out, depending on, you know, the type format I have it in. So as you see, I'm still working on this page. I go back and check my numbers. It's like balancing a checkbook. I have to make sure everything line up. But the reason why you want to look at this, you want to make sure that your numbers is correct with what the heavens has showed you throughout the year. Because when you use Enoch's formulas, if you did everything correct, you were able to get the correct number for your lunar epoch, and you will get your correct date for when your new year will start. Okay, so that's the purpose of this year report sheet, is let us know. We look at the dates of Howshua new moon sightings, the dates of Israel new moon sightings, as well as our dates to compare. Because this sheet will bring out a lot of things. We also look at how the heathens start their days and how it's out of order. It does not align with the heavens. So as you see here, when we came to our 10th month, the heathens were already at the end of their year in the 10th month of the Most High calendar. So they're already starting way ahead of us. They're already out of order. Okay. So again, when you study the calendar, it reveals a lot of things, that they are following the ways of Satan and not the ways of God. Okay. So I'm going to close this sheet out, but it's good to have an end of year report summary sheet, so you don't have to flip through a whole lot of papers as you're keeping your records of your calendar. So you get to second Enoch, it talks about the lunar epoch. We're in second Enoch chapter 16. And what I shared with y'all last time, what the lunar epoch is, you're taking the days of the moon and subtract it from the days of the sun to see how many days did the moon start before the sun. For example, in the year of 2016 AD, and it started in March and it ended in April, okay? My new moon day was on March the 9th. Can everybody see this? I want to make sure. I might have to blow this up.
I see it.
Okay.
Yes, much close. Yes, clear.
My new moon day started on March the 9th, okay, at sundown. And if I count how many days that the moon started before my equinox day, because you see my equinox day, I have it highlighted in yellow, okay? So my spring equinox day fell on the 11th day of the moon. So if I count these days that happened before my equinox day, I get about what? 10 days. Now that number 10 should remind you of something. What does it remind you of?
Oh, I'm trying to remember the name. I'm teaching this. Hold on.
I'll give you a hint. What did it say in the book of Jubilees? What did Jubilees say?
Does it mean completion?
Not completion. What did Jubilees prophesy? Those who observe the moon will notice what?
How the year comes in 10 days too soon.
That's right. They would notice that the moon would start about 10 days too soon. Now, when I do my actual math, when I say actual math, my first day of the sun's year starts on the 12th day of the moon. Remember, this is the sign. Remember what Enoch said. When the sun entered into the first sign of Mazzaroth, it happens on the last day of the sun's 12th month. So your equinox day is your last day in the sun's 12th month, the spring equinox. Very important to know. So my first day when spring begins will follow on the next day. First day of spring for the year of 2016 started on the 12th day of the moon. So for this year, it started what? 11 days before the sun started its first year. But far as the equinox day, the moon started 10 days before the equinox day. This is an example to show you what the prophets had told us. The prophets of the old, they're right. And it makes sense. When you look at the days of the moon, which is 354, minus the days of the sun, we're going to use the 364 first. You get what? 10 days. But now that there's an extra day added to the sun, we get what? 365. Now we can see where 11 come in. Let me type it out so you can see it. Makes sense. So days of the sun, if we take 364 when the sun was perfect, minus 354 of the moon, we would get 10 days. But now that the sun has 365 minus the 354 days of the moon, we now would get 11 days. And these days will continue to add up from year to year, such as the first year is 10 days. The next year, the moon will start 20 days. Then the third year, it'll start what? 30 days. Or should I say 33? Because we look at 11. Okay. So it makes sense. Now we can see what the prophet's saying is coming true right before our eyes. So as each year go by of the moon, for example, we're going to use the 10 days. For example, if we into 3 years, 3 years times 10 days will give us what? 30 days, which is what? A month. So the moon will be behind where the moon would start before the sun 30 days before, or a month before. And this is how your Passover can start it in winter. Same thing now, because now we got what? 365 days now. So if I take 3 years times 11 days, I would now get what? 33 days. And that's what I got for some of these years when we get to the third year. Makes sense. Okay, let's go back here. So my new moon day started on March the 9th at sundown in the year of 2016. Okay, so it started 11 days before the sun started its new year. Right? That's why it's so important to keep a calendar record where you can see the math coming into play, into action, into the physical. Okay. Next, we're going to look at some things you have to know in order to do your Epact equation and to either predict or to project when your new year will start. Remember, this is what the heathens are using too. They're using these formulas, even though they're not doing it correctly, but that's what they're using. This is how they come close to us every year. Okay? So you have to know the total number of days of the sun in this year for that year. You also have to know the total number of days of the moon in this year. Then you also need to know the total number of days of the moon in this 13th month, whether it has 29 or 30 days. You got to know. This is nothing that you add by hand. You have to wait for the heavens to give it unto you. Okay? Then from your math calculation, you have to keep up with the bank. You probably saying, what is the bank? Well, the bank is dealing with your 13th month. Remember, the 13th month is giving you what? Extra days to keep the moon in a line in its proper season. So when it would start 10 days too soon, it push it back. That's what the bank does. That's what the 13th month does. It gonna push the moon back so it won't start before the sun. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
All right. If you don't see that, let me know now. We're about to do some practice. So I've been keeping some records. I did a partial copy. Okay, so we're going to start with 2014 to 2015. All right, we're going to talk this through. So in 2014 to 2015, all right, I had a bank. Okay, from the last time we had the 13th month to be added. All right, and from that bank, after it took away the number of days that the moon needed to be in its proper place, I had 11 days left over from that bank, y'all. So for the year of 2014 to 2015, for the sun, I had a total of 366 days. For the moon, I had a total of 355. Second Enoch talk about this. Remember, the moon followed behind the sun. And yes, it can have an extra day too. So I had a total number of 355 for the moon. How I got the Epact, I took the days of the moon minus the days of the sun. So when you see negative 11, that lets me know that the moon has started 11 days before the sun. But what happened, y'all, to prevent that from happening, from the bank, we had a plus 11 days, right? So it's going to push that moon back, further back, where it would start either with or after the sun. So it's zero out. It's zero out. And because I know that it's zero out, I'm able to predict when the new moon crescent started. And when I did my math, I took the number that remained over from the bank and from the Epact, like you see here, the bank plus the Epact, I got zero. And what I did, I took zero and added to my spring equinox day, which was March the 21st in the year of 2015 AD. And when I did that, it gave me my new moon date. It let me know that the new moon would start on March the 21st in the year of 2015. 2015. Okay? We're going to still practice before I get y'all to do the other ones. Okay? So in my year of 2015 to 2016, this is a year we're going to have a 13th moon. Okay? So remember, I have to carry over my bank. I don't have nothing in my bank, so I'm starting all over again. I don't have nothing to take away from. So the days of the sun for that year, and notice that the heathen had 29 days for February. Notice that, y'all, but we counted 365 days. And because we had a 13th month that year, instead of having 354, we now have 380 days of the moon because that 13th month had 30 days. So by me knowing this information, we got to set it up. Okay. The first step, we got to know what our bank of days are from the previous year. We got to know that. And tell me what our bank of days from the previous year was in the year of 2014 to 2015. What was our bank?
11.
Correct. As far as this part, I'm talking about at the end of it. What was the bank left over?
0.
0.
0. Okay. How many days do we have for the 13th month? That's the next variable you have to identify.
30.
30 days. Okay. How many days we have for the sun for the year of 2015 to 2016?
365.
Wait a minute. I thought the heathen said we're gonna have 366 because February was had 29 days. But you're saying it's 365?
Yes.
Do y'all see this?
Yes.
Yes.
That is a sign unto us, letting us know they don't follow the heavens. They just follow what they put on paper. Okay. Now, how many days of the moon we have for each year in the year of 2015 to 2016?
384.
84.
384. Now, how can I figure out how many days that the moon would have for just for 12 months? If I just want to know that.
Take the total for the year and divide.
Not divide.
Oh.
If I want to figure out how many days
Take away.
that this, huh?
Take away.
Which is we're gonna take away. What number we're gonna take away from? How we gonna set that up? If I want to know what my 12th month is, how many? How many
Sunday.
days for the moon we have for a total of 12 months?
Would it be 11 days?
I'm talking about grand total now.
Oh,
For 12 months, how many days the moon will have for 12 months if I didn't add that 13th month in?
Would you minus the sun from the moon?
If I minus the sun from the moon, would that give me the total number of days for the moon year for 12 months?
Oh, no.
Remember, I'm just talking about the moon.
Yeah, the moon. I'm sorry.
Okay. You said minus, you're on the right thing. If I want to know how many days that the moon had for 12 months, for example, for 13 months, I have a total of 384 days. How many days does the moon have for 12 months if I don't want to add that 13th month in?
Oh, so you
Just
take away
subtract.
30. Take away 30.
That's right. I'm going to take away 30.
Yeah.
And that would let me know how many days we have for 12 months. And when I do that, it'd be 354. Okay.
Yes.
That's why we got to keep good, thorough records. Even for every month, we need to know how many days each month have. Because when you got to go back and prove stuff to people, it's a headache trying to figure out how you came up to that number. So that's why it's very important that we keep good records. Next step, this is step number 2. Step number 2, after we identify the variables, okay, we don't wrote down all our information here. We got the bank of days of the previous year here. We have how many days the 13th month was. Then we got the days of the sun year and the days of the moon year. So the next step, we have to solve for the lunar epact. And how we solve for the lunar epact is we take the days of the moon minus the days of the sun. And the reason why I said it like that, because you want to keep up what is going to be positive and what's going to be negative. Okay. So how many days of the moon do we have for this year, 2015 to 2016?
384.
384.
384, right? How many days of the sun did we have?
365.
Okay. And when we take 384 minus 365, we get what? A plus. Because 384 is greater than 365, right?
Yes.
So we got a
Yes.
plus of 19 days. So we got a bank of 19 days. That's your lunar epact, 19 days. But it's a plus. Okay.
Yeah.
The next step is we have to add or subtract the bank of days from the previous year. Yeah, add or subtract the bank of days of the previous year. And you'll see why we have to do that as we practice this more. So our bank of the previous year was what? 0, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because think about this. If our bank was, let's say we was in the hole, it's like a checkbook. Like you bounce a check and you in the hole for $50. Well, you want something to offset that hole, right? Get back to the positive. So that's what the bank does for the current year. It gets you back out of that hole. But our hole was that we balance out. We even out. We're not in the hole, right? So we're going to gain 19 days for the year of 2015 to 2016 to carry over in the next following years. This is why I tell y'all, you won't be able to see that 10-day rule or that 11-day rule. Do y'all see that now? Because when we start adding the 13th months, it's going to cover that. The only way you're going to see it is when those who don't keep a 13th month. Those who don't keep a 13th month, they're going to see that 10-day rule or that 11-day rule. Do y'all see what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
Yes.
But those who keep a 13th month, this going to be covered up until what? It evens out. So like I saw in this year, not this year, like I saw in 2015 to 2016, we was able to see what? That 11-day. Because we didn't have anything, we didn't have no bank. We could see it. That's why I tell those who don't keep a 13th month, show me your records, because ain't no way y'all can keep up with us. Ain't no way they can be aligned with us if they never kept a 13th month. Somebody lied. Somebody not being honest about their calendar records, because math don't lie. This is simple math here. So for those who preach against the 13th month, tell them quick, show me your calendar records. Tell them you don't want no 3 year, you want 10 years, 20 years. Because if they can show you that calendar record, and you have to go behind check people, because people may lie or they could make a mistake. But they eventually they would see, especially after 3, 5, 8 years, they would see they are starting in winter and not in spring. And with some people, you just go ahead and take a picture, because they're not gonna be honest. You're gonna have to wait till the time pass, and then go back to them. Okay, you said during this year you started your new moon day. Now this year you started this day. How can you do that? You know what I'm saying? You got to get your evidence with some of these folk, because these folk won't be honest with you. They're gonna lie. But I think it's mighty funny how they keeping up with us. How can you start the same time with us when you claim you don't believe in the 13th month? Something ain't right. All right. Next step is we got to solve for the new moon date. And now we're going to see how this formula that the Most High gave Enoch will give us the new moon date. So we have a bank of 19 days, right? So our Equinox day fall on March the 20th in the year of 2016. That's our Equinox day, our spring equinox. So by me knowing that there's a bank of 19 days. It's going to push that moon back, what, 19 days after the equinox day, and that's when that moon going to start. And when I added to March the 20th in the year of 2016, and you count them days out, y'all, you're going to start on what? April the 8th, 2016. Do y'all see that?
Oh, yep. Yep. You put it.
Now I got proof. Y'all know me. I come with proof. Sister Yiddy got a calendar record. Because I noticed in the year of, this is in the year of 2016. This is in April. This is the first day of our new year. And it started April the 8th at sundown. Now I think this is amazing. Ain't no way man can come up with this. The Father came up with this. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me blow the picture up. In that fact, let me click on that link because I want y'all to see this. This is something that make you want to shout and rejoice because these formulas come from the Father. And everything just lined up so perfectly. There we go. This is on my Facebook. Not how the computer do. Taking a while to come up. There we go. But it came on April the 8th at sundown. That was the time of our new year. Let me see, can I blow this up? Can everyone see that? I call myself making it 175. And now, there we go. I guess that's the best I can get on this part.
That's good.
Can everyone see that?
That's
A
better.
little better.
Oh, Lord. Let me go back. I don't know what that's doing. Okay. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, that's
Right
better.
here.
Yeah.
So that's proof. That's proof, y'all. And I thank the Most High. I took pictures of my stuff. That's why I tell people, don't argue with people. Just tell them quick. Let me see your calendar records. Hey, check behind them. That means you're going to do some math to make sure they are giving you the correct days. Because it's a way to figure that out. In other words, you got to make sure that they got 354 in their moon year, or, you know, however many days they claiming they have in their moon year and their sun year. You have to check behind people. Because either people will lie or it can't be an overlooked error. Okay. But do y'all see how beautiful this formula is? I mean, this kind of thing make you want to shout to actually know how to figure out when the new year gonna start.
Yep, it is.
Just like, let's say we didn't have a 13th month that year, and I just want to use 354. Well, I would just do the same thing if I just want to have no bank of days, you know. Make sure I look at this right. Nope, I won't have no bank of days because that's 0. So I take 354 minus 354 minus 365 is like I want to predict when the 13th moon gonna start. That's what I'm looking at. What y'all get? What's 354 minus 365?
It'd be a negative. Hold on. Trying to do it in my head.
11.
It'd be a negative 11.
Okay. So when we say that negative, that let us know that the moon gonna start what? Start before the sun, right? It's gonna start before the sun. And because I don't have no bank of days, we can skip this because you know for us, well, maybe just keep it the same. So when y'all get to these notes, y'all know what it is. So it'd be 0. Okay. So I know my equinox day, at my equinox day, I know that it started on March the 20th. In the year of 2016. And because I'm dealing with a negative number, right, we're going to subtract 11 days. And when we subtract 11 days from 20, y'all, let me know what y'all get. I'm going to calculate too.
11 from 20.
Get 9.
What y'all get?
9.
Okay, so that's the 9th day, right?
Yeah.
3609/2016. This is the date of the 13th new moon. Let's see if we get that. Go over here and see when that new moon started.
Oh, it sure did.
Let's see here. Yep, it started March the 9th. Do y'all see? This is the formula to figure out when your new moon gonna start.
Yeah, I see it.
And so far, I've been calculating these years, y'all, and it's been on the money. It's been on the money. So most times, if I get something like a number that's off, then I say, okay, I did something wrong in my math. And this came from the prophet, which came from my Father in heaven. That's what amazed me. And I don't understand people when they talk about Enoch. And I can tell they didn't read the book. I'm like, y'all didn't read the book. But they're talking all this smack. So now, you know, y'all know what we're about to do. We're going to practice some math, but we ain't going to do all these other years. But we'll come back to these other years later, but it's going to show you the same thing of what we talked about in this example, okay? So we're going to practice for this year. I got to finish doing my numbers calculation for this year, for the year of 2021. But we're going to practice with this year, 2021, okay? So that's what we're about to do. So y'all know I'm gonna give some homework, but I ain't gonna give a whole lot. Y'all hear me? I ain't gonna give a whole lot though.
Yes, sis.
I'll give y'all one of these problems to do and see if y'all get them numbers. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at the year of 2019 to 2020. So we're gonna play with 2020 to 2021, okay? I have to go back and there's one more number I have to check because I got to make sure everything balanced out. But we're just going to play with it for today. So in the year of 2019 to 2020, because we follow the 13th month, we have a bank of 17 days. And in that year, we have 366 days of the sun and 354 days of the moon. Okay. So what we did, I subtract the days of the moon from the days of the sun, and I got 12 days. So now I need to figure out how much left on my bank because we're in the hole of 12 days. That means the moon would start before the sun 12 days. So if I add my bank in from the last 13th month, I have 17 going to minus the 12 because the 12 is negative. Now I have a bank of 5 days to carry over in the next year. Now these 5 days that's left over lets me know when the new moon would start in the year of 2020. And how I know when it's going to start, I look at my equinox day. And my spring equinox day is March the 20th in the year of 2020. And when I added that, the new moon started on March the 25th. And I have my end of year summary sheet to prove that, it's that date. So by me knowing that, now we get to the year of 2021. This is the year we're in now, y'all. And we already know we're going to have a 13th month for this year, because that's where we're at now. So my bank from the last year is carried to a bank of 5 days. All right. And I don't know how many days Adar going to have until Adar finish. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be 30 days or whatever. All right. Now, this is what we're going to play with. With my day of the sun, what I have with one calculation I do, I know it's supposed to be 365. Is this another calculation I have to do to make sure that balance with what that calculation have? So we're going to just say it's 365 for this year. For my moon so far, my calculations had came up to 354. 354. Okay. By me knowing this information, to figure out my lunar Epact, what I have to do, y'all? What is the lunar Epact?
When you minus the moon and the sun.
That's right. Subtract the days of the moon from the days of the sun. So y'all figure this out for me. Take 354 minus 365.
And get 11 minus 11.
Okay, so we get negative 11. That negative let us know
10.
what?
10. I'm sorry.
Are you sure?
Oh no, 11. I'm sorry. I was
Okay.
looking at somewhere
Okay.
else. 11.
Okay. So remember that negative let us know that the moon is going to start before the sun. Before the sun. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, we want to get an idea when will the next new moon start, right? Okay. Now keep in mind this is based on what? 12 months. So we're going to see if it match up to the thing we saw this new moon here, okay, for the 13 month. So we're going to take what? Plus a positive 5. We got a positive 5. That's our bank of days, right? Plus, well, actually, it won't be a plus. What happens when I add a negative 11 to a positive 5? I'm going to be doing what?
Going backwards. So it would be like a negative.
Well, I'll be
6.
adding or subtracting from
Subtract.
5. Subtracting. Okay. So when I take a positive 5 minus 11, I get what, y'all?
Negative 6.
Negative 6.
Negative.
That lets me know that this new moon is going to start 6 days before the sun, right? 6 days before the sun year. So what I have to do next, I got to add it to my equinox date. 03. And we know today's the equinox because it's March the 20th in the year of 2021. And we got to what? Subtract because we deal with a negative 6, right?
Yes. Yes.
What we get, y'all? Because I want y'all to see this. What we get?
We'll get, excuse me,
14.
the 14th.
14. When did we see the new moon, y'all?
On the
14th.
14th day.
Wow.
Do y'all see this?
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
And this is for
Yes.
the 13th month. And we're going to pause there for today. I want y'all to meditate this. This is something to rejoice. Do y'all see what the Father gave us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sis.
Now we're going to come back to the same part here when we get the 13 month completed to predict the next new moon date. But for homework, I want y'all to do, I'm trying to get the one that's close to this one. We already did 2015 to 2016. But for homework, I want you to do 2016 to 2017 for practice. And then if you feel like you want to do a little extra, you can do the rest of these years that come after 2016 to 2017, all the way up to this year, where we stopped at 2020 to 2021. But for requirement for homework would be, I want you to calculate, but see if you get these same numbers for 2016 and 2017. And you have the format up here, to follow. Okay.
Yes.
So this would be in your, in your homework assignment when you have to follow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I just want to close everything up, sum everything up. when you start asking people for their calendar records and make them put this stuff on paper, and you check behind them, because people would give you a bogus date and say that it's either 365 for the sun, or they'll say it's 354. You have to go behind people and check behind them. Because if they would keep accurate records and also go observe the heavens, they would begin to believe what the prophet had wrote. I just think this is amazing. All right. This is enough for today, y'all. I want y'all to just meditate on it. But this is a beautiful thing. The Father has shown us a lot of great things, especially in this time that we're in. Remember, do not allow Satan to shift your faith. Stay strong. Stand for Yah. Because what he has for you at the end is greater than what this world can ever offer you. Because what this world has to offer y'all is nothing but crumbs. It don't even come close to what the Father has for you in the end. We say unto you, keep watching and praying, as the Messiah say. For the signs in the heaven and the earth are showing us we are in the last days. And the harvest we are in now is the wheat harvest. So listen up, O bride of the Messiah, 144, and nation of Israel. Get your house in order. He is coming to set things in its proper place. Do not be like those who was in the days of Noah, thinking that judgment's not going to come. Remember the 7,000-year prophecy, the 7-day prophecy that's given unto Ezra. Oh, yes. And it's written in the Jewish writings, and I found it in another Israelite writings. And that video will be coming out according to the Most High will. Make sure that you are preaching and you tell everyone that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's truly at hand. But many are still walking around sleep thinking that it's not coming because they're not paying attention to the heavens and his earth. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10 and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. But the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism. And the apostles continued in both. If you have no one to baptize you, the water is the second witness in the earth, just as his heaven and his earth are a witness unto us. And he made it that simple. All you have to do is exercise your faith. You don't need no church. You don't need no pastor. All you need is your faith and some water, and ye shall be baptized. Same is for the Holy Spirit baptism. All you have to do is ask in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, and our Father will give it unto you according to your heart and your faith and your works. And if you like to join us in these class sessions to study the Most High Calendar and Mystery, please call 919-972-8970. We bid y'all a shalom, good day, and we love all of y'all. Shalom.